Okay, so this next section is multiplying polynomials. All right, so then all you're going to do, you've got monomials, you've got mono on mono, mono times a binomial, monomial times a trinomial. Actually pretty easy. I almost think it's easier than adding. All right, so you're going to multiply the constants times the constants. So a negative 8 times 5 is negative 40. And then if you remember multiplying like bases, with the exponent you just add. So 6 plus 3 is 9. Okay, then when you do a monomial times a binomial, you're going to distribute. So the constants, 2 times 5 is 10. And then c squared times c is going to build that up to c to the third. And then the trinomial, three times 2 is 6. Then 4 times 3 is plus is 7. Then 3 times that is negative 21. X gets built up to 5. And then 3 times 3 is 9. And the x is going to stay x to the fourth because this one didn't have anything to build it up. Okay, so let's keep going. Now a binomial times a trinomial. Now I like color coding my stuff. So all that means is you're going to take this first term and make sure you've multiplied it times all the terms in the second parentheses. Okay, so 5 times 2 is 10x to the third. 5 times 4 is 20. And then an x and an x builds up to x squared. 5 times 6 is 30x. Okay, then let me get another color. I like colors. So 3, I'm going to multiply that 1, 2, 3 times. So that's going to be 3 times 2 is 6x squared. 3 times 4 is 12x. 3 times 6 is 18. And then what you want to do is any of them that you could put together, you want to put them together. So I don't see any other x to the thirds. So that one's going to stay 10x to the third. But here's x squares and here's x squares. So that's going to be 26x squares. Okay, then here's 30x and here's 12x. So that's 42x, and then 18 also didn't have anything to build with him. Okay, then trinomials. Okay, so we're going to need 3 colors. So I'm going to take this 4x squared, and he's going to get multiplied times 1, 2, 3 things. So that's 4x, but here's an x squared. Here's an x squared, so that's going to get built to x to the fourth. Okay, then 4 times 3 is 12. X squared and an x makes a 3. 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, then let's come in. I'm going to get pink. So do the same thing. 1, 2, 3 times with the x. So that's going to be x to the third, then 3x squared, then minus 4x, and then that last little guy. Let me find another color. I've already done that sort of green. Oh, here's turquoise. Okay, so now take 2 and do it 1, 2, 3 times. So that's going to be plus 2x squared plus 6x minus 8. All right, then you're going to put together anything that matches. So let's see. Here's kind of a hint is most generally that front term and that back term will never have a match. Not never, but it's pretty rare. All right, so 4x to the fourth. Okay, so I'm going to put a check since I did him. Okay, then here is a x to the third, and here is an x to the third. So 12 and another one make 13 x to the thirds. Okay, then let's look for some x squares. Oh, let's see, that should have been 16x. I missed that right there. It should be x squared. All right, so now here is negative 16x squares and positive 3x squares. So that's going to be negative 13. Oh, and one more. Sorry, down here. So negative 11x squares. Okay, then the last ones you're going to grab are just the x's. So a negative 4 and a positive 6 makes positive 2x. And then, like I said, the constant didn't have anybody to combine with. Okay. Now, here is where so many people make a million mistakes and then they are just heartbroken. This is like the trickiest, meanest thing out there. When you see these parentheses squared, it doesn't just mean 7 squared, 2 squared, you're done. What it means is 7x squared minus 2 times another 7x squared minus 2. And people, goodness gracious, that is like the trap. People are stuck by this one all the time. So then you're going to multiply 7 times both of those. So 7 times 7 is 49, x to the 4th. 7 times that negative 2 is negative 14x squared. And then negative 2. So that's going to be another negative 14x squared. A negative times a negative is positive 4. So now these guys can go together. So 49x to the 4th had no matches. And you'll notice that's that front and back not having matches again. But negative 14 and negative 14 makes negative 28x squared plus 4. Okay, now this one's pretty simple. The rest are pretty simple. So unless you have any, well, let me do this really quick. Trying to see how long this video is. Okay, so you're going to multiply the x squared, so that's going to be negative 5x gets built up to the 3, and then x times that is x squared. Then you're going to do the 3x, and that's going to be a negative times a negative is positive 15x squared, negative 3x, and then finally that 1. So a negative times a negative makes positive 5x. A negative times a positive is negative 1. So hopefully I got all, I'm really trying to hurry here, making sure I got all my signs right. Oh, that should be squared. Okay. So now that front term and that back term probably won't have anything to go with them, but I don't see any x to the thirds, any other x to the thirds. But I do see x squared, x squared. So 1 and 15 makes 16x squares. And then I do see negative 3x and positive 5. So plus 2x and then minus 1. Okay, then the last two. And this guy is another one that is really mean-spirited, but let me see if I can quickly do this one. So that's going to be 3x squared minus 5x plus 12 xy, or yx, however you want to say it, minus 20y. And this doesn't have anything that can go together because x squares and x's can't mix, xy and just regular y can't mix. And then here is that hateful one all over again. People, this is a trap. People fall for it every time. But you have to write it out twice. And maybe you use the word FOIL or whatever method you multiply with. So that's going to be 9x squared minus 15xy to the third minus another 15xy to the third, and then plus 25, sorry, y times y to the third is y to the sixth. And the only thing that I can combine are these middles. So it should end up being 9x squared minus 30 x y to the thirds plus 25 y to the sixth.